Some Marvel actors became famous for playing heroes and villains on screen, but their real-life stories took unexpected turns. From shocking arrests and unusual police encounters to legal battles that nearly changed their careers, these Marvel stars faced moments that fans may not know about. Nicolas Cage's night in New Orleans ended with a mugshot and an unexpected rescue from a famous bounty hunter. Before becoming Marvel's Ghost Rider, Cage was arrested after police responded to what appeared to be a domestic dispute on a street in the French Quarter. According to the responding officer, Cage was heavily intoxicated when police arrived. He was taken to central lockup, photographed, and processed. The story took an even stranger turn when Dwayne Dog the bounty hunter Chapman stepped in and bailed him out. After reviewing the case, the district attorney's office determined there was insufficient evidence to charge Cage with a criminal offense. Josh Brolin played both Thanos and Cable, but one of his most unusual arrests happened while he was pole vaulting down the street. After an earlier arrest for interfering with an arrest outside a bar, Brolin had another encounter with police years later near his home. According to police, he was intoxicated and pole vaulting down the street just before midnight on New Year's Eve. Officers booked him and kept him in custody for about 6 hours before releasing him after he had sobered up. Brolin later described the incident as a turning point, saying it made him realize he was on a destructive path and needed to change. Robert Downey Jr. became the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but years before that, a series of arrests nearly defined his public story instead. Before stepping into the role of Tony Stark, Downey was arrested for possession of cocaine, heroin, and a handgun. Just weeks later, he was arrested again in a breaking and entering case. After entering multiple rehabilitation programs, he faced another major setback when he failed to submit to 3 separate drug tests, leading to an arrest and a 3-year prison sentence. Additional drug-related arrests followed before Downey eventually turned his life around and later stated that he has been sober since 2012. Woody Harrelson's first major run-in with the law started with something as small as crossing the street. Before becoming the villain Carnage in the Marvel Universe, Harrelson was arrested after being stopped for jaywalking. According to his account, the situation escalated dramatically after the stop, drawing the attention of nearby students who began protesting the officer's actions. Harrelson said the encounter ended with him being maced to prevent him from fleeing before he was taken to jail. By the end of the incident, 6 separate charges had been filed against him, turning a simple jaywalking stop into a much bigger legal ordeal. Jeffrey Wright's mugshot came from a night that started as a movie wrap party and ended with police intervention. Before becoming Marvel's Watcher, Wright was arrested alongside fellow Marvel actor Josh Brolin outside a bar in Shreveport, Louisiana. Police had been called after reports that cast and crew members refused to leave when asked. According to the report, Wright and Brolin stepped in to help defuse the situation, but were instead restrained and charged with interfering with an officer. Witness accounts and video released afterward led to allegations of police misconduct, but the police department later stated that its officers had acted professionally. Mickey Rourke played a Marvel villain on screen, but one real-life traffic stop put him in the spotlight for a very different reason. While known to Marvel fans as Ivan Vanko, Rourke was arrested after police stopped him for making an illegal U-turn on a motorized scooter in Miami Beach. According to the arresting officer, he showed signs associated with alcohol use, including bloodshot and watery eyes, slurred speech, and a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage. Rourke denied the allegations at the time of the arrest. Later, he publicly credited his agent, priest, and weekly sessions with a psychiatrist for helping him in his recovery and comeback. Nick Nolte's most unbelievable arrest story sounds more like a movie plot than real life. Before playing David Banner in Hulk, Nolte was arrested after a bizarre incident involving a non-functional hearse and 1,000 falsified IDs. The fake IDs unexpectedly fell out of the hearse, leading to his arrest in Omaha, Nebraska. Nolte later described the situation as stupidity rather than an intentional criminal act. He was convicted and even received a 45-year prison sentence, but that sentence was ultimately suspended. Decades later, Nolte would make headlines again after being arrested for driving under the influence. Wesley Snipes helped put Marvel movies on the map, but one legal battle led to a prison sentence that shocked Hollywood. Best known for playing Blade, Snipes was arrested after facing charges for failing to file tax returns over several years while accumulating nearly $40 million during that period. he offered to pay approximately $842,000 toward a reported $23.5 million debt. But the case ended with a $5 million fine and a 3-year prison sentence. After being released from prison, Snipes returned to acting and quickly resumed his film career, appearing in several major movies and reprising one of his most recognizable roles. Terrence Howard was the original Rhodey in Marvel's first Iron Man movie, but one real-life incident led to an arrest and a guilty plea. Howard's second mugshot stemmed from an incident involving his first wife, Lori McComas. An argument escalated after a phone call, prompting McComas to contact 911 because she feared Howard was serious about a threat he allegedly made. Howard later admitted that he struck her during the incident. The confrontation ended when Howard's brother intervened, and the case ultimately resulted in Howard pleading guilty to disorderly conduct in connection with the event.